Dave, honey, tell your baby daddy to find bitches here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex,
And I'm Mary,
and this is
lawyering out loud.
a podcast about life, lawyering, and
All the things we're mad about.
who chat. Are we gonna be mad every week?
Yes. Yes, we are.
And this week we are literally big mad.
Big mad. Big mad.
What do I mean when I say big mad, Mary?
This week's episode is called Living Out Loud. What does that mean for us, Alex?
That means this fat body gonna give what this fat body gives, honey. We're talking about fat phobia in the legal profession, honey. Whew, and that's a big one.
We're only talking about fatphobia in the legal field, though?
Child, it's hard to do that because when you exist in a fat body, you experience fat phobia all the time.
Every day, every hour on the hour.
In all of the way.
Correct. So we just talk about fatphobia, period.
Exactly. So tell me, what has your experience been as a fat girl?
I would say that for the most part, the world tends to want to humble you as a big girl. And when you don't subscribe to that, they go even harder in trying to humble you, whether that's in the dating field, whether that's at work, whether it's other fat women and men who actually other fat women, because fat men, obviously I can't speak for them, but experience fat phobia differently, especially with some of the things that we're going to talk about today.
I definitely feel like men experience fat phobia differently. And I think a lot of men are disingenuous about the way they experience fat phobia. Because, yes, it is true that when you call somebody a bear and say you want a hug or whatever, it is a little bit of a fetish. It is a little bit dehumanizing in a way because it reduces the person to like literal physical warmth. And it's not cute. It's not cute. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that. Saying, oh, I want a fat man because who gonna hug me when it's cold? Bitch, the blanket.
I was just going to say, get a blanket, a Snuggie.
But this is a person, this is a human being with so much complexity, with so much beauty. And for you to reduce them to something that you could literally do with an item is extremely dehumanizing, extremely disrespectful. However, it pales in comparison to what fat women go through. It really does, because a lot of fat women are told openly that they are not the choice. They're not top pick. They are the person that somebody's settling with. And also, can we keep it about? Are we keeping it honest today?
At all times, baby.
Because gag is, this is not Kiki Palmer, but nobody likes fat girls. But all the fat babes I know are getting laid regular. All the fat babes I know are getting picked. Do we really not like fat girls, or do we have an infatuation with pleasing other men? Therefore, we are ashamed to admit our attraction to fat girls. Because the fat girls are not single, baby. And get it out of your mind that fat babes are out here keeping men by spending money on them and shit like that. Baby, no.
Have you scrolled on TikTok? These girls are getting taken care of.
Correct. This whole idea that fat girls only get men because they are paying for it. First of all, can we talk about the fact that fat bitches are discriminated against in the employment world? That people who are smaller than us with the same skills are getting more coins than us. So we don't have no money to pay to keep none of y'all. They got to keep it real. This football kid bring the boys to the yard. It brings the boys to the yard. Yes, you are here. So is your homeboy. Let's not.
Yes, you was peeping. Yes, you was in DMs stuff. Now, I know that we might talk about this in a separate episode, right? But since you're talking about the boys coming to the yard and whatnot, I find it so interesting that in the dating field, I don't know what your experience has been. Men will try to engage with you. They won't go as hard for you in dating you, right? But then when you don't take their measly crumbs, they get upset and they're like, how are you not taking what I'm giving you? Baby, because there's men out here worshiping the ground that I walk on. So literally.
Gag is, while you are out here trying to turn me into some project that you wanted to diet that you wanted to work out. There was somebody stepping up their games, baby. Now that's the part. That's the part that really gets me mad, because in every sector of life, fat women are always made to feel like something is wrong with them, that something is lesser than because we are fat. Yet there's no evidence across the board that fat women are less than. There's nothing to show that we are lazy. There's nothing to show that we underperform compared to our skinny counterparts. There's nothing to show that y'all are less attracted to us. You be in my DMs, babes. You know I'm not single and you're still there. Let me tell you something. I've been watching the Ashley Madison documentary, how like their whole shit got hacked and so much shit. If that ever happens, are we not talking about that?
Your boy's gonna know you like a fatty.
And you might find out your boys wasn't there too. Gaggies, your boy was in there too.
Well, y'all was talking together and telling each other, oh, bro, I need me a quality woman who takes care of her body, blah, 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 blah.
You was telling me you want to take care of that body, baby. And so was he.
Okay.
Of course, we're talking about this as like a key, but fatphobia has real consequences. Fat women are dying in childbirth. Fat women are going to the doctor and getting misdiagnosed or no diagnosis, because every freaking doctor's diagnosis for a fat bitch is go lose weight.
Correct.
So it is a very serious issue. And it's an issue that is even further compounded when you are a fat woman who's also Black, who's also dark-skinned, who's also disabled. There's so many factors that makes existing in a fat body as a femme or a woman very, very hard. So we are going to always do a key, because this is a podcast about fun as well. The acronym is not LOL for no reason. But there are also very serious aspects of this. When you are in my DMs, but you are putting out a narrative into mainstream, into the open, that I don't deserve shit. Well, people treat me like I don't deserve shit. And they do so in every freaking aspect. And it's harmful.
Right. I want to highlight that you just mentioned was the fact about, Keen, while we talk about this, remember for us, bigger girls as it is, or actually maybe just girls in general, because I'm thinking about the friends that I talk to that may not necessarily be big girls. The way that we get through is laughing through our trauma. So we gonna laugh about it, we gonna address it, but we're definitely not minimizing the real consequences, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. And also, speaking about that, one of the tropes that freaking sends me about fat women that I particularly see in entertainment is that we are jokesters. Or the loud, boisterous, outgoing jokester or whatever. This is the reason why Black history needs to be taught, and be taught like in depth. These things have very real historical roots in racism. The fat Black woman who's the joke, who's the zoo animal, is a historical fact. So when you are reducing fat women to being the loud, undesirable, it's trash. It's trash behavior. You are literally endorsing something that was done to dehumanize our ancestors to us. I don't want to be the fat frame who roll around and joke and never get picked or whatever. I remember back when I was in my 20s, when I would go to the club, sometimes I'd be out with my friends and men will come up to me and be like, oh, I want to talk to your friend, but I'm scared. Okay. And I'm like, am I your therapist? Am I your wingman? Why are you telling me this for? Oh, I thought you looked more friendly. I am not. I am the bitch of this group.
I'm laughing because I can totally see that happening. I can totally see that exchange.
Absolutely. I'm not the friendly one. And how you got that I was the friendly one is wild. You know me, Mary. You know that I'm never going to be the person at the club turning up, laughing, whatever. I'm always going to be the girl in the corner. So how did you get that I was the outgoing, friendly one?
Right.
For me sitting in the corner? No, you were scared to approach your skinny pick, because since we're in public, that's your pick, right? And you thought you was gonna send the fat heifer to go to the work. No, sir. No, sir.
When I was teaching, my student once told me, oh, Ms. Rojas, it's because I'm the duff of the group. I say, what the hell is a dove? Around that time, a movie had just come out that was called The Designated Ugly Fat Friend. And that was a thing around 2014, 2015. And my students who were high school students were subscribing to that BS. The other thing that you just mentioned about them approaching you, or, you know, when there's more than one guy in a group and he's trying to talk to one of your friends, and the other one thinks that he has to be the wingman and be like, well, I guess I got to talk to the vet girl so that my friend could get with the friend. I would look at them or have the stankiest face ever, because I'm like, why would you ever think that I would talk to you? And I've always been that way. I think men just get really shocked that you as a fat girl would have any kind of standard.
And that's something I used, like, if somebody rolled up on me and was like, oh, I'm just talking to you because my homeboy wanted to talk to your friend, I'm gonna be like, I actually don't be friending women who are trash. So tell your homeboy he has ruined his chances. Because once we leave this place, we're gonna get in the car and we're gonna talk about you and your homeboy and how small both of y'all penis is.
And we're gonna laugh at y'all. Yeah. Now that's in our love life, right?
Yeah.
Because we're both lawyers, and we've previously mentioned, I even had someone who is a bigger person in the industry tell me to lose weight so that I can be more appealing to the jurors. One of the things that we were talking about when we were coming up with this episode is just how real the consequences are for fat female attorneys.
Yeah, for sure. Like in 2016, actually, Above the Law, which is a legal blog website, published an article about how literally male attorneys will tell recruiters that they do not want fat women, and they will give an array of reasons why they don't want fat women attorneys. But also, let's talk about the fact that a lot of male attorneys do very little work to invest in seeking quality candidates because they look for women to harass sexually. Y'all look for women to harass sexually. Y'all look for women that you all could feel like you could exert dominion over. And in that sense, I suppose, in a very twisted reality, Faith, I guess, you are absolutely right. Because if you try to harass me, I will sit my fat ass on your head. Stop messing with me. I'm here to work. If you try to sexually ask me, I might just throw your ass up in this bitch.
Bitch, I almost fainted.
So hard.
Oh my God, I almost fainted. Oh my gosh. You say I will sit. Alexandra, you can't be dropping that on me like that. You said I will sit my fat ass on you. I mean,
I'll crush your head with my fat behind. Because if I come to work to handle business, I expect to handle business.
Period.
If you're going to harass me in the workplace and think you're gonna get away with it, you are sorely mistaken.
But also that you're going to harass me for being fat. You're going to degrade me for being fat. And then sexually harass me? Oh, no, baby. No. Now, you were saying that above the law male recruiters that had been talking to lawyers mentioned that there were an array of reasons why these people didn't want to hire fat women. What were some of those reasons?
Some of them were like, oh, these women are lazy. There are a heart attack waiting to happen. There are a stroke waiting to happen. Gag is the stress of the legal profession will take you out before the fat on your body would. Gag is the 300-hour PTO balance that you did not cash in on and take your behind. So a vacation is going to cost you more than any fat on your body ever could. And also, can we talk about the fact that many lawyers have very unhealthy lifestyle habits that start in law school, Red Bull, Adderall, drugs, all of whom will take you out before the fat on your body does.
Right. But come tell me about me and my body. Have you had any experience with a specific experience that you can think of, either in the legal field or just on your everyday?
I would say this. I've not had that experience with attorneys. I've had attorneys undermine me a lot, but it could be because I'm fat. It could be because I'm Black. It could be because of both. It could be because I'm a woman. I very seldom value the opinion of lawyers altogether because I'm like, you think I'm a bad attorney? I think you're a bad human.
That part.
Gag is, I'm still winning at life because I am decent. Can't say the same about you.
Correct.
So I don't care what you think of me. But I would say this, I feel like one of the things that has become very alarming to me is how comfortable some clients have gotten making comments about my body. And I have had to repeatedly tell them that you are crossing a boundary with me.
Wow.
And I think one of the things that I have learned as I've matured in this career, but most importantly in this business, is really understanding that the ideas around customer service that I was taught are rooted in white supremacy and are really rooted in a desire for me to deny myself of respect in exchange or for capital. Like the thought of correcting clients who would make comments about my body terrified me before for years. I'd be like, they're just ignorant. Don't say that. And I would joke about it. Right now, I'm swift and dry. Like, don't play with me. I treat you with respect. I call you sir, ma'am, whatever honorific is acceptable to you when you enter my office. I make no comments about your appearance or your body, and I'm expecting the same. As a matter of fact, there are rules of conduct in my intake packages now. That includes tone, that includes talking about me or my employees. If you want to remain a client of my office, you're going to have to abide by the rules that are in my intake packet. Period. I hire Black women, and I'm not about to have them out here disrespected or have you talking about their bodies because you feel like you have a right to do that as a man. It's going to be a problem. You're going to have to go find another lawyer.
I was just reminded by you, a client, it was a female client, and she would call me Señorita Rojas, right? One day we were just talking about her case, and she's like, you know what? Gracias, mi gordita, which is, thank you, my little fatty. It's like a term of endearment. And I was so shook, I didn't say anything to her. It was literally the first year that I was practicing. The last time that I had a comment made was a male client telling me that I was beautiful for a big girl and that he hopes that I'm eating better out there. He's in custody. That he hopes that I'm eating better out here than he is eating in there because he likes his women bigger.
Let me ask you something. Imagine having your freedom at stake and worrying about what your lawyer is eating. This is the audacity of patriarchy. Sir, do you not have bigger fish to fry?
When I responded to him, like you said, now I'm in year 3, I was swift with it. Cut it, nipped it in the butt. He was like, oh, but it was a compliment. It was intended to offend you, blah, blah. I was like, whatever gave you the idea that you had the right to talk to me about anything other than your case? I was like, because I don't play with you. And he was like, my bad.
I think that people doesn't understand as well. Just as cruelty is a choice, kindness is too. Just as disrespect is a choice, respect is too. I'm choosing to show you respect. It ain't because I'm scared of you, baby. And Correct. This is something they are learning the hard way at my little side gig. They are really learning that I am not to play with. They are really learning that when I choose to be quiet, it's not because I don't have nothing to say. It's because in my mind, I'm doing an analysis about whether or not I want to invest in the bullshit you just said to me. It really don't have nothing to do with you because my answers be like this. I'm always with the shits. I don't have to get ready for the shits. Just understand if you start something, I'm 10 steps ahead of you. I already thought about the answer, the rebuttal, the counter rebuttal. I'm ready, but I make a conscious decision. Do I want to engage? Do I want to disrespect this person? Even though they've chosen violence, do I want to respond to violence? So y'all really gonna learn to stop messing with people.
And you know what that's called on your part? Growth.
Because we both know 18-year-old us, when we met, had No growth.
I thought that seed was dead. Growth where?
The way teenage me was not if you buck every time.
At all times.
And
remember
some
that.
will still have the audacity to think that I've not evolved. Let me tell y'all something. Let me drop the P.O. box to my therapist in the comments so y'all can send that bitch a gift. Because some of y'all out here safe because of that bitch.
Thank you.
Some of y'all out here able to talk because of that woman and the work that she has done with me and through me. But y'all ain't gonna be thankful. Y'all ain't gonna be thankful.
And some of y'all have been spared. You know, I remember this man that I went out on a date with, and I'm gonna be honest with you, he was beautiful. He was gorgeous. He was 6'5" black man, tatted just how I like it. Gorgeous. He was gorgeous. And when we were talking, he had the audacity to make a comment about how he's used to the women that he date are jealous because he's very handsome. He gets a lot of attention. And I will tell you that that day that we went out, like so many people, and the way that he dressed, the way he carried himself, so many people would come up to him and be like, hey, are you a basketball player? Which is problematic on its own. But he enjoyed that attention and how women get jealous. And like you said, always with the shits, my answer is always ready. My response was, well, that stems from insecurity, but I'm not insecure. I'm not a stranger to dating beautiful men. Like you thought you was the gift here? Like, sir, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. And then throwing it back at him and telling him the issue with me is that men like my light, and then they want to tone it down or dim my light once they have it because they think, oh, wait, like, why should other people see the light that she radiates? And when I don't allow that, especially as a bigger girl, because I should accept that this beautiful man is talking to me or took me to dinner, he was shook. He was shook when I ended it, when we stopped talking. Shook.
Yes, girl. Now, are we talking about exes? No? Okay. I think you're talking about your ex. My bad.
Almost spit this out. Talking about exes, though, let's address the fact, because we were talking about it earlier, how so many men will be ashamed about being with a bigger girl, but still keep them around, especially if they're a good woman, right? Because they don't fit whatever image it is that they're trying to project. And how if you don't stand on your truth, you will start believing it.
I sympathize with that reality for a lot of bigger girls, but I'm a terrorist. I am not.
No, because let's be honest, Alex, now you're a terrorist.
I will torment you. If you think you're going to keep me your dirty little secret, I will torment you. I'm a menace. I am to be feared.
But now,
I will expose you.
Now, were you always like that?
Of course not. Of course not.
Because now I can say the same.
Like this for a minute, because I have learned a long time ago, and I don't know if it's from reading Black feminism and all of that stuff, that people pick up on ways to manipulate you if you are too vocal about your insecurities.
Period.
You're not gonna manipulate me using my insecurities. And do I have insecurities about being fat? Absolutely. Hell yeah. Do I know I look good? Do I know I'm desirable? I know certain things to be true. I know that there's a lot of people of all genders who try to humble fat women.
Yes.
While simultaneously having an attraction to fat women. But it doesn't do anything to alleviate the real concern or fear that I'm not the top choice for whatever reasons, not necessarily for attraction reasons, but because you're going to be embarrassed to bring me to your homeboys. You're going to be this and that, and you might have an attraction to me, and you're going to deny me the opportunity to be the main one, the one you post or whatever, because you're afraid. Because as we've always discussed, men's primary attraction is men. Men are romantic and homoerotic. They find great pleasure in pleasing their homeboys. So as a fatty, truly and honestly, the best thing that could happen to me for a man that I'm attracted to is for their homeboys to think I look good. If your homeboy think I look good, I have a better shot than if you think I look good. That's beautiful.
Wow.
But again, though we talk about it in dating, there's been research on pay disparity that found that fat women get paid less, right? We already addressed the medical industrial complex. There are real consequences around that. And also, again, to talk about workplace, fat women are sexually harassed a lot in the workplace because comments are constantly being made about our bodies in sexual ways, but there's no sexual attraction though. There's no sexual attraction. And to be honest with you, we have to clarify this. We don't want the sexual attraction or attention or harassment. It's gross. It's gross. No woman wants any freaking body, particularly their boss, to talk about their bodies in the workplace. It's not cute. But the problem is when a small woman says, my butt sexually harasses me, everybody immediately finds it repugnant. When a fat woman says it, it's like, you should be lucky a man of his stature finds you attractive. And he's trying to fuck up my bag.
Actually, I find that it's more of like, did it really happen? Or, it's more of a denial that it actually happened, because how could a man of his stature actually be focused or try anything with a fatty?
Yeah. Remember when there was all these allegations going around? I want to say it was Usher, and when that fat girl came and said that she had sex with him, and everybody immediately dismissed it as like, why would he have sex with a fatty? For the same reason you did, because he liked her fupa. Because she was cute. That's why he had sex with a fatty, because she was sexy.
Or when Trump got a sexual harassment suit and his response to it was, look at her. You actually think I would sexually harass someone that looks like that?
Yeah, men are very
I forgot that you like to sexual harass people that look like your daughter.
But guess what? Men who are harassers, men who are predators, men who are abusers are very well aware of the societal dynamics that causes people to not believe fat victims, causes people to question and undermine their realities and experiences. So they very much tap into that when they are trying to discredit the person. They very much tap into that when they are trying to get away with certain things. And they often present this as a joke. Sexual harassment is not a joke. I think that's also very prevalent in the legal community. Our next segment really portrays that reality of entitlement in the legal field. What do we have in Lawyers in the News today, Mary?
In Lawyers in the News, we have a Vermont district attorney who was under investigation for claims of abuse and harassment from his female colleagues, such as calling them slut, using very derogatory terms, commenting on their body and touching them while commenting on their body. That's just the beginning.
This man's name is John Lavoie. The part that's most distasteful and disgraceful about this whole thing is that this man went publicly and said these were jokes. They were not appropriate, but they were jokes. Is there a part of what you just read that made you laugh? What was funny about it?
Thank you. I also want you to know that he was a top prosecutor in Vermont. Okay.
What do you make of this bullshit? Just give me the breakdown, girl, because I'm so pissed about this story. And I know this is not what I'm mad about, but I'm really pissed about it. How you feel about it?
Well, I think what we're also pissed about is the fact that they opened an investigation against him about the alleged incidents. And his response was very much, ha ha ha, it was jokes. And because they allowed him to resign, the investigation didn't go any further. And so what was he taught as a man in this space against his female colleagues is he's untouchable, just like he knew he would be.
It's really not safe out there for women in the workplace, for fat women in the workplace.
The other thing, he's an older man. It reminds me of a time where I used to work years ago, where an older gentleman thought that it was okay to say sexually suggestive things to my sister and I, and all the other men who were standing around listening to it just laughed and they were like, ha ha ha, that's just when he was inviting us to his hotel room. after the Christmas party.
So no one intervened, even
No
though
one.
they heard him say that.
No one, right?
That's disgusting. That's extremely disgusting. And that's also what we talk about when we talk about patriarchy and toxic masculinity. I'm not going to let you other men off the hook on this. Y'all have a responsibility to hold other men accountable for their behavior. And it's not because girls need rescuing or whatnot. This trash culture continues to perpetuate because of you. So stopping it, the onus to stop it is on you.
Period.
If men knew that every time they said things like this, there would be an dissenting voice, choir of dissenting voices, they would not continue, because as we already established earlier, men seek the approval of other men a lot. So the disapproval of other men causes them to stop the behavior.
Correct.
So it's extremely shocking to me. No, I mean, take that back. It's not shocking. Disappointing is the word. That these men will stand here and not interject and say, you know what? You've gone too far. Because it doesn't take a lot to get these men in their places when you're another man. It has become increasingly obvious to me that men have refused to address rape culture because they benefit from it. All men. I know that that is a very controversial take for a lot of people, but even the men who actually do not actively engage in rape culture in their personal lives or in their lives, period, benefit from being able to portray themselves as the good guy. Therefore, perpetuating rape culture is important to them because it allows them to create a contrast that makes them feel good about themselves and rub their ego the right way. All men benefit from rape culture.
Friends. Going back to Lavoie, which is exactly what you're saying, you think he's the only man that was in that office that was seeing this happen? So remember that district attorneys, it's a elected position, right? They had to go through impeachment to see if they can get him out of his position. Ultimately, he resigned. But in order for the impeachment to go forward, they did some investigation. Let me tell you what they found. The report found Lavoie made dozens of inappropriate or offensive comments about race, religion, sexual orientation, weight, people with disabilities, and sustained at least 2 instances of unwanted physical contact, including an instance where Lavoie allegedly pinched a female employee's midsection and said, "I don't think you need to eat lunch today."
Yeah, because guess what? Bigotry rarely exists in a vacuum. It's sexist, it's oftentimes fatphobic, oftentimes racist, oftentimes homophobic, oftentimes ableist. Yeah, because for as long as cis, heterosexual white men with privileges exist, they will always have the ability to kick down. So every group that they perceive as being beneath them is fair game.
Period.
So while you're sitting out here kikiing about him making a joke about a fatty, you don't know that anti-Semitism, ableism, and all of the other intersections at which you might exist is right around the corner. Because if you don't stop him the first time, he's gonna push the envelope. The problem with allowing people to cross boundaries is that it will consistently seek boundaries to push again. That's probably why he was shocked beyond all beliefs when he actually had to face accountability, because he went so far so many times. Why is today the day?
You know what I feel like people don't realize, where he says that this is just banter? Well, sir, it goes past banter, number one, when you engage with your colleagues. But how you're bringing this banter into the courtroom when you prosecute people who are of a different race, of a different sexual orientation, of different weights, of all of the above. Oh, but it's banter. Okay.
Also, is this the Laugh Factory? Is this a comedy club? Is the job you were hired to do entertainment? Is you Kevin Hart? Is you Monique? Is you a stand-up comic? Did we miss something? Because I thought they brought your ass over here to do some lawyering. Why is the improv session needed?
Correct.
Like my mother would say, foolishness.
He said, I used to look at this office as an extension of my home. Sir, I'm concerned for your wife.
It's not
I'm
your fault.
concerned for your children. Blink twice if y'all are all right.
You are not.
And now it's clear that that can't be so. Correct. This is not your home.
And the fact that you need to be reminded of that fact as a woman, as a Latina, as a fat person, as a child of immigrant, have you ever forgotten that your job, your workplace was not your freaking house? Because
Man.
the privilege in forgetting that your workplace is not your freaking house.
No matter how much you say we're a family,
We
might
is
be
not.
dysfunctional like my family, but okay.
No, but on the real, there's so many layers to this story. And a lot of it has to do, again, this is a critique of the profession. There's too much emphasis in the legal profession on being sharks, on being condescending, on being disrespectful, on lacking civility as being good traits for lawyers. Being disrespectful does not mean that you are highly effective. Being condescending does not mean that you are, until we change the culture around lawyering, we will never see a time where people who are not white, who are not cisgender, who are not men, who are not native English speakers, who are not able-bodied, are not subjected to violence consistently in this profession, because we value all of the things that lends itself to cis het whiteness, and nothing that lends itself to respect, to diversity, to good values, to morals. None of those are emphasized within the profession. So of course this jackass was DA. You think he started acting like that in the DA's office when he got the job? This man spent his career before that being this kind of a-hole, but he was praised for it because this is the kind of things we like about lawyers. He's a shark. He's witty. He's this. That's not wit, baby. That's not sharp. That's inappropriate behavior. But we praise it, and then once he becomes a monster because we filled his head with all of these things for so many years, now it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No. You created a monster that is in front of you.
It's like what you said last week. Yo, that has been playing nonstop in my head about how assholes don't go to law school and become assholes. They were assholes long before. And kind people don't go to law school and become assholes if they were genuinely kind. A word.
We create a hub for this kind of behavior. And then we're like, why is everybody in here like this? Because you sought it out. Because you sought it out. We should just really get into our next segment, learning out loud. And I think this week we really, really need to have a variation of that and not just talk about straight law, but we have a new wave of attorneys entering the Florida bar. We need to talk about a culture shift and how we get back to the basics of lawyering and remove all of those things around immoral, uncivil, inappropriate behaviors in the profession. So do you have a little gem for us for learning out loud this week?
One of the first things that we want to highlight is knowing your rights, right? Especially as an employee, as someone who's about to enter this field, right? And knowing that workplace discrimination is going to happen, whether it's in the legal field or anywhere, and how you have a right to speak up and how you have a right to not be retaliated on for speaking up. And that goes not just for discrimination based on your gender, based on your sexual orientation, based on your race, right? Based on your gender and the fact that you might be a bigger woman or man, right? And so one of the main things that I think you and I discussed was, how do we make sure that people realize that they have rights and that this banter is not something that they have to keep up with?
Correct. Correct. Now, even though much to our dissatisfaction, a fat body is not a protected class, gender is. And overwhelmingly, it is women who exist in a fat body that are subjected to sexual harassment. So you might not be able to make a claim that you were harassed because of your fatness, but you definitely was harassed because you were a woman who existed in a fat body. Because you're a woman, this person thought it was okay to treat you a certain kind of way. Even though society has told us to be quiet, has trained us into accepting inappropriate behaviors because any attention is good attention when you're a fatty, don't stand up for that shit.
Mm-mm.
Don't stand up for that shit.
And like you said, the thing is that there's so many intersectionalities. That's where you intersect race. That's where you intersect sexual orientation. That's where you intersect gender.
Like I said earlier, is that bigots are rarely one-dimensional. Somebody who makes a fatphobic joke will probably make a racist one, will probably make a sexist one. And in the end, when you're proving your case, you're not going to prove your case on a single fact, on a single event. So events that involve comments around your weight are also relevant.
Correct. I think the very reason why this podcast was created was because of this. I mean, it was important enough that we literally just dedicated a whole episode on living authentically as yourself, which includes taking up space as a fat woman. And so when we leave our viewers this week with anything, it's the one thing that has been consistent in all of our episodes. Our value comes from nothing outside of us. You are worthy. And the only things that you have control over is, especially in the legal field, but in any field, is how prepared you are at all times is what should dictate. I'm not going to say will, but should, for the most part, dictate your effectiveness as an attorney.
One thing we always going to do as fat women is reject the notion that anybody, employers and all people alike, are entitled to make comments about our bodies and tell us what we need to do.
I think as women, but also as bigger women who are learning to take up space in this world, we need people who are constantly cheering us on and cheering us on in our wholeness and not just half-ass. Your tribe is never going to even remotely make you feel like you have to change who you are.
If you are a fatty watching this, we love you. We see you. You're great as you are. And if you are somebody who has done the work to reject fat phobia, we love you and we thank you. This was Luring Out Loud. Mary, how can they find us?
We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Even though Apple Podcast was a little late to the game, but we're on there now. Our email is loutloudpodcast@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Send us your stories, send us your feedback. We're listening, we're growing with you all, and we want to bring you along on this journey. So hit us up.
Bye.
Bye.